stop till I hear him say,
Okay, what is going on, CYPRX advanced YouTubers? Welcome back to the CYPRX YouTube page. As always, if you're interested in learning about cryptocurrencies, commodities, indices, and foreign exchange, please go ahead and consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Guys and gals, who takes this YouTube channel serious? Who actually follows the tweets? Who follows the YouTube page? Who pays attention to the technicals that we give you all here at CYPRX time and time again? Days in advance, I've given you all indications, I've given you all signals, I've given you guys heads up. Who has really benefited from those? Comment in the description down below. We really do appreciate the love and the support. Again, nothing that we constitute here is financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy or sell any kind of cryptocurrency asset or, currency pair here on the FX market. I solely just give you guys gems to show you all that I'm very transparent with my traders, with my students, and with you all as the general public, to show you all that I put my money where my mouth is. I want to take you all to a tweet that I posted about 10 hours ago that relates back to a tweet that I posted on June 18th, right? We can go ahead and we can click this tweet here, enlarge this, and it says June 24th is the best day to see the planet alignment. If you all don't know, there's a planetary alignment happening as we speak. Today is June 24th. But let's see how they do the cryptocurrency markets on this day. Big manipulated move incoming so they can satisfy those really in charge. Okay, cool. Now let's go over to XRP. I had mentioned to you guys that this was going to happen days in advance. And if we go over here to the charts on XRP, we can look on June 24th, what happened. Exactly that. You guys can see as soon as the market opened on June 24th, here's the market rollover right here. We see a nasty manipulation move. Now, personally, I do not think that the bottom is in. I think that this was a manipulation move. You guys can even go back to my Twitter page and you guys can see the bullish targets that we would need to break for us to consider this is a bottom on XRP. I had mentioned to you guys, these are two barriers we would need to see broken with a sustainable bullish hold above on the daily time frame before we can confirm that the bottom is in. Those bullish targets are 45 cents and 65 cents. If we can clear those, then I'll support the bottom is in hype. Watch my past YouTube for my bearish targets. I posted on a XRP video breakdown a couple of days ago referring to some bearish targets of anywhere between 17 to 25 cents. In my personal opinion, that is where we will bottom in at. Now, obviously, of course, I also mentioned to the students where I'm going to be seeking dollar cost average positions in at if this is the bottom and if we do start to see a rise in value and price action on XRP. So be mindful of that. I'm going to do a fully diluted breakdown on a trade that we placed here in the CYPRX community on GBPJPY. I let the students know in extreme detail everything that I was doing, when I entered, when I closed the first initial position that I entered in a little bit too early, when I re-entered into the trade, sending my screenshot to you guys on Twitter ahead of time. Now this trade is currently floating of roughly around 109, let's say 112 pips in profit. I'm still holding this trade. I pulled a little bit of profit, made about $13,000 on this trade. Still have about $1,000 left running on the trade. My stops are moved to break even, but I'm going to give you guys probably one of the most in detail trade breakdowns that I've ever given you guys on the YouTube channel, starting from the higher time frame perspective all the way down into the entry. We're going to talk about pattern identification, daily opens during the Asia session. Banks are more likely and inclined to buy from a discount area that they previously bought from. We're going to cover all that. I'm going to also show you guys screenshots from our CYPRX group chat showing you all that I tell the students way in advance when I'm entering into a position, sharing them my positions, hopefully giving them an edge in the market. Blessings to you guys all. Make sure that if you're still here, you smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's jump into today's video breakdown. So first, we're going to get into pattern identification on the higher time frame and lower time frame and why this is so important to our trading analysis here at CYPRX. Now, again, this is not as in detail as I get to the CYPRX students, but I'm trying to give you guys a clear perspective on the YouTube channel for all those of you individuals who cannot afford the mentorship, who really want a clear perspective and are not trying to fall into all this retail hype that is on the internet right now. Do not pay attention to that. If you're trying to learn from somebody that is teaching you order blocks, support resistance methodologies, retail trend line patterns, indicators, all this crap that you do not need in your trading, disregard that crap, okay? Unfollow them. Please save your portfolio. It'll benefit you in the long run. Watch the previous interview that I do with one of the CYPRX students and another interview that I have coming out tomorrow, and pay attention to what he says specifically, that he was an order block trader and that constantly lost him money. And then when he joined CYPRX, his trading did nothing except prevail. Okay, so we know why this is important, because banking institutions are the only individuals, whales, whatever you want to call them, high-end entities with more money than you and I. That's all we need to know. We don't need to know who these individuals are. We just know that they exist, okay? And they exist by pushing and manipulating the market down into lows to take discounted positions for themselves and then clearing out other areas of liquidity. And this is what the pattern looks like in a buy scenario. Now, in a sell scenario, we can get into that in another video. Predominantly, I am a buyer on GBPJPY. I mainly only look for buy positions. I just support the methodology behind buy positions a lot better from my perspective. So it just behooves me to stick to buy scenarios. So this is what we're going to be looking for, okay? On the higher time frame, if we can see this price action, right, where we can see the market sweep a low. I've mentioned this to you guys multiple times on the YouTube channel. We can see the market sweep a low, reject the psychological level via an injection of money back into the market to change from weak hands to smart hands, to clear out more liquidity or clear out previous highs. And then we see the market respect a higher low, higher high scenario. This is bullish order flow. This is the market makers manipulating price, building liquidity, grabbing and sweeping that liquidity, and then moving price in their favor after taking discounted buy positions. Now, if we can see this type of price action on the higher time frame, so let's just say, for example, this is the daily chart. So I'll just put a D here. Okay, this is the daily chart, but then we can also correlate this with the lower time frame on the 15-minute and below, because we're scalpers here at CYPRX. Then this is a beautiful opportunity for us to seek an entry point to move in tandem with what the banking institutional traders are telling us. And right now, from this perspective, they are clearly telling us that until these lows, right, that have been manipulated to the downside for bank and institutional traders to come and grab and scoop up discounted prices are broken, we are respecting bullish order flow, not only on the 15-minute time frame, but on the higher time frame on the daily. Like I said, if you can correlate this pattern with the daily chart as well as with the hourly 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart and below to take scalp positions, you are most likely going to have a higher probability trade go in your favor, okay? So that is, again, our goal here. At CYPRX, we do not tell the students that this strategy is 100% accurate, because that is impossible to come by. It doesn't matter who you are. You can never have a 100%, accurate strategy. Okay. Don't let anybody fool you into believing that. But what we can do as traders is we can give ourselves a higher probability outcome based off of a certain set of confluences that we pay attention to here at CYPRX, some of the gems that I give you guys on YouTube. Okay, so what I want to take your attention to is this area right here. I want to go to the daily chart just to show you all that when you have this type of pattern on the daily chart, okay, it can correlate on the lower time frame and give you a higher probability trade. So right here, take your attention to the daily chart. Let me get rid of all this jazz so we can clear up the charts a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. I'll move this. Okay, cool. So what do we see here? Right here, via the daily price action, we can see a sweep of liquidity from a low, and then the market show us a willingness to create new highs via where the daily candlestick close happens at. Okay, so we can see here, we see 3 lows, 1, 2, 3 on the daily chart. This was June 14th through the 16th. Okay, then on the 16th, we see the market sweep those lows, grabbing liquidity, getting a discount via the higher time frame is what the banking institutions were doing, and then pushing price back up in their favor after taking buy positions. Okay, so what do we see? We see the daily candlestick close at a high above 2 previous high areas where the candlestick bodies closed. So we can identify this as the market maker pattern that I teach you all to identify here on the YouTube channel, which is a sweep of liquidity, the market makers pushing price, manipulating it down into discount for themselves. You can see how they respected a psychological level, the 16000 psych level. I'll go ahead and I'll mark that off for you guys just so you can see it. Okay, boom, it's right there. Then they injected money back into the market and closed bullish. So until we break this candlestick body on the daily time frame, or we see price action come down underneath of it, we have to assume what the banking institutions are doing. They are going to continue to push price higher. That is just logic, right? Logically speaking, we would need to see a daily candlestick, a bearish daily candlestick close beneath this green line until we can consider on the daily time frame bearish price action. Okay, so with that being said, higher time frame analysis will now jump down into the 15-minute chart, and I want to take your attention to the session splits. Okay, Not a lot of people cover this here on the YouTube space. I'm going to be very transparent with you all. Now let's talk about the past 5 days worth of price action where we can see Asia session opens. That is where we need to pay attention. Why is this significant? Because look at these yellow dots, guys and gals. This is where the daily candlestick opens for each and every single daily day's worth of price action. Okay, we see an hour prior to the Asia session open. This is where the daily candlestick starts to formulate. Well, right here via the higher time frame, you guys can see how my drawings correlate with the lower time frame. Here's that area of liquidity from those 3 lows, 1, 2, and 3 that I'd mentioned to you guys on the higher time frame on the daily. Here's that sweep of liquidity, but here's where the daily candlestick opens. On the lower time frame, you guys can see how that correlates. We see a nasty sweep of liquidity. Now, what can you see in this area that 90% of traders in this market space, regardless if it's forex or cryptocurrency, trade? Trend lines. Look at this. This is the market showing you all that they do not care about any type of trend line analogy. They are building liquidity in the form of trend lines because they know 90% of retail traders trade these methodologies. You guys can go and watch any freaking YouTuber on the internet, Mamba FX, Swaggy C, Daniel Savage, Lambo Raul, whatever the heck his name is. They teach these methodologies. Okay, they are market enthusiasts that teach retail methodologies who know that these positions do not work, yet they teach them on a scale that is unfathomable, lying to individuals. The market makers manipulate these areas to grab liquidity and send price higher, and that is what I'm attempting to get you guys to see. I'm attempting to teach our students here at CYPRX to trade against this. So here we see a market maker pattern, a sweep of liquidity and a move higher. Now coming into the next day's worth of price action. So we have 1 day's worth of price action where we can see a bullish sentiment. Why? Because we know that the market makers are the only type of people with the amount of money to manipulate the market down into lows for themselves, rejecting a psychological level, to then boost money, take buy positions back into the market and make new highs. So we see a low, sweep of liquidity that led to a new high. Now we have a new daily area worth of price action. Okay, so we have this yellow dot coming into this new day's worth of price action. Guys and gals, what pattern do you see here? Again, please tell me. Please. We see the markets do what? Build a low during the manipulation window, which I covered to you all multiple times on the CYPRX YouTube page. So if we go ahead and we annotate that manipulation window by this blue box, we know that prior to every single session open, there's a manipulation window. I can't give you guys those specific times. It wouldn't be fair to the CYPRX students. However, I've been attempting to drop you guys gems on this YouTube channel, but we can see them do what? Build liquidity during the manipulation window underneath of a low. Would you look at that? Okay, so right there underneath the low, they built liquidity, they came back, they swept that liquidity coming into the new day's worth of price action. They sweep that liquidity from that low and make new highs. Coming into the next area's worth of price action, we see the same exact pattern time and time again. We see lows right here, they get swept and we make new highs. Coming in to the new day's worth of price action, what do we see? As soon as the market opens, here's the daily open. Look at this. I'll even zoom in. Here's the market maker pattern. Again, printing bullish price action time and time again. I think now this is what, day 4, where we see lows right here, get swept, and then the market makes new highs. It doesn't matter which way the market makes this pattern. Okay, because you guys see how the past couple of days it did it in different ways, right? The price action is never the same, but the ideology behind what the banking institutions are doing. Look how much they manipulated price to take buy positions here, but it's still the same thing. They're sweeping lows to make new highs. Same thing here. Sweeping lows to make new highs. Same thing here. Sweeping lows to make new highs. And then same thing here, sweeping lows to make new highs. So coming into this trading session, how I was able to analyze that we are in still bullish order flow is by utilizing the piggyback methodology, understanding from the higher time frame perspective, this green line right here that I'd annotated to you guys needs to be broken before we can consider to take sell positions. So in my personal perspective, taking a buy position during this New York session was trading against retail methodology. If we know that banking institutions on the higher time frame utilize what? Higher time frames to trade, then we know what they're most likely doing. Building liquidity above highs, which most likely they were doing here in this area in the form of trend line traders, okay? So from my analogy, now going down to the lower time frame, I was looking at this as an area of trendline liquidity where retail traders are attempting to take sell positions. And before the banking institutions take sells on the lower time frame, if they are going to sell back into that higher time frame discounted area, which we know is this green line, they are most likely going to push price action up to then take sell positions. Why? Because we know manipulation, and I'll get into that in just 1 second, that these are areas of liquidity. We see the manipulation window for Asia, we see a high. We see price action for London, manipulate price action, but we see them leave behind liquidity during their manipulation window at a high. And then same thing for New York session, during their manipulation window, we see them leave behind liquidity at a high. And now what did the banking institutions do during this New York session and this London session is they came back for that area of liquidity above highs. Now, if the market makers sell off, that would be a lot more logical. Why? Because they're then selling from a high, an area that they sold from the previous day. Okay, so you guys can kind of see the ideology behind this trade. Now let's go into the piggyback methodology. Okay, we know that banking institutions like to buy from a discount from where they bought from the previous day. So let's pay attention on the daily time frame. We know that this was the area right here. I'll go ahead and highlight this entire day's worth of price action from this Asia session to this Asia session. This is 1 day's worth of price action. Okay. On the daily time frame, we know that this is where on the daily time frame that market maker pattern came into play, where we saw on the daily it sweep lows and make new highs. Coming into this Asia session, this is now the logic that I teach you guys on the higher time frame to identify the higher low after the sweep of liquidity. Okay, so pay attention. If you guys are still here, this is extremely important and prevalent. So I told you guys to pay close attention to the higher low that forms after the sweep of liquidity. So what are we looking for? We're looking for a sweep of liquidity, a break in market structure, and a higher low, and then a break of structure. So a higher high, higher low, higher high formation after the market has swept liquidity, right? So once we see this pattern happen, we know most likely that until these lows are broken, over to the right-hand side, somewhere in the future, we are going to get a discounted price where we can eventually seek to take buy positions once the market comes into some type of discount. Now, you as a trader have to determine whether you're going to place a position at 62% to 100% discount based off of your own personal risk to reward strategy, which I teach the CYPRX students to develop. However, here at CYPRX, I seek to enter into positions anywhere between a 62 to 79% discount based off the higher low that the banking institutions printed after the sweep of liquidity. So just looking at this type of pattern that I just showed you guys, we see a 70% retracement. I'm taking buy positions based off the ideologies that I've displayed to you guys so far on this YouTube channel with a stop loss beneath that higher low. So now I just want to show you all how I was able to capitalize on this trade. Here's a screenshot making a roughly around $13,000. I'll even show you guys where the entry was on the MetaTrader. You guys can see that it was at 164,790, almost to the exact T of a degree, just to show you guys what it is that I'm saying here. Boom. Okay, so check this out. Here's the daily candlestick open. Here's the sweep of liquidity right here. Okay, so if this is the sweep of liquidity, we come over to the next day's worth of price action, which is right here. Here is the higher low. So look at this. We have a sweep of liquidity, higher low, higher high formation. Is this not exactly what I just drew out for you guys? So to come over here to the right hand side, I mentioned to you all that somewhere in the future we can seek to take discount positions from what? From the higher low after the sweep of liquidity. So with that being said, simply all I did to catch this trade, if we take our Fibonacci, which again is a tool to determine where discount price action is going to be at in the future, right? So we take our higher low right here after the sweep of liquidity. If I zoom in just to give you guys an accurate prediction of where this is, we're taking from the candlestick wicks, the lowest point of price action during this Asia session, which is down here, okay, all the way up to the high. And we extend that out, you guys can see where my entry was at almost to the T of a degree at 62% discount from this higher low on the daily time frame perspective after this massive sweep of liquidity. Okay, just to show you guys how accurate this is. Again, this isn't going into an extreme detailistic perspective, but hopefully you guys are picking up on some gems that you can utilize for free on the YouTube channel in your own personal trading strategy. Nothing that I constitute here is financial advice. I'm just attempting to show you all time and time again what the market makers are doing. So now, if you're still here, let's go into the lower time frame and place some more logic on this trade. Okay, so now we're going to go down into the lower time frame. We're going to go into the 5-minute chart, and I just want to show you how insane this strategy is to build your set of confluences to give yourself a higher probability that a trade is going to go in your favor, just based around logic, guys and gals. Logic and manipulation. Okay, so now coming into the lower time frame entry, we're on the 15-minute. You guys have my higher time frame confluences, which were what? Let's just reiterate them so that way they are beaten to your head. We have daily time frame pattern identification, where we saw a sweep of liquidity. We have daily lows that we know would need to be broken before we consider selling price action. We also have previous areas of interest on the daily time frame where the market makers are consistently making sweeps of liquidity and new highs, sweeps of lows and new highs. And we saw that happen 4 days back to back to back. So we know that until those lows are broken, we are not looking for sell positions because we are still respecting bullish order flow and could take buy positions from discounted prices at any given point in time. So now 15-minute piggyback methodology. We're going to go over here to this New York session. This was June 17th. This was after June 16th, on the day that the market makers swept liquidity from the higher low after that daily sweep of liquidity. And we're going to utilize our piggyback methodology, taking from the candlestick bodies down to the wick and engulfing that entire area of price action where we know that banking institutions like to take buy positions, 2 main buy positions during their trading session, and we're going to extend that over. And we're going to assume that the banking institutions are going to like to buy from a discount from previous New York sessions if we're New York session traders. So guys and gals, look at all of the confluences that I have that helped me place this trade. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add on our manipulation window, and we're also going to talk about that. Okay, so here's our manipulation window, roughly speaking. Okay, I'm again not going to give you guys the specific times, but roughly speaking, this is our manipulation window. And what can we see the market makers freaking do during the manipulation window? It is hilarious, guys and gals. Okay, we're now going to jump down to the 5-minute chart. Okay, so right here during the manipulation window, what can we see? We can see that they made equal lows, building liquidity in the form of a double bottom formation right here. We know that retail traders like to trade these patterns. So what are they most likely doing? They're taking premature leverage buy positions before New York session. They're impatient. They're chasing bullish candlesticks. They're thinking some type of trend line is coming here and that they're going to get some third touch right here. And boom, they're filling in buy positions, flooding the market with over leveraged positions. 9 times out of 10, if you're trading in these time windows, you're going to get annihilated. So not only is the market during New York session building liquidity from lows, but they're also building liquidity at highs. Okay, so with that being said, we know as CYPRX traders, we do not trade this manipulation window. So when we see this type of price action in this window, we go ahead and we sit on our hands. Why? Because we know what the market makers are doing. They're getting people to chase candlesticks. Look at all these bullish candlesticks that people were probably flooding in buy positions with. As soon as we break out of that manipulation window, what do we see? We see an attack and an attempt to come and grab all of that liquidity. Now, we as CYPRX traders have an area of interest that we've already identified from a low during a previous New York session, utilizing the piggyback methodology that I've displayed to you guys on the YouTube channel, from highlighting the candlestick bodies down to the wick and extending that over, which is the most significant area of interest where New York session bought from after the higher low was created on the daily time frame from the sweep of liquidity. Do you guys see how it's all piecing together? So here's that market maker pattern: higher high, higher low, right? Here's the higher low after the sweep of liquidity. Now, to go into an extreme sniper entry, here is the most significant area of interest where if a New York session is going to take buy positions, they're most likely going to take discounts from where they bought from a previous day's session. Extending that over all the way to the right hand side, you guys can see where my entry was at. I've shown you guys screenshots. I've shown you guys what I said to the CYPRX students. I entered in a little bit too early here in this position. I re-entered into another position. I held this position all the way until the following day's New York session, where we are currently still floating in this position. I've taken the majority of the trade off of the table, still allowing $1,000 to run. My stops are at break even. Today the market closes. Now to go into an extreme detailistic perspective, full circling back to what I said at the very beginning of this video, that if you can see the market maker pattern on the higher time frame in tandem with all your confluences, and on the lower time frame you can identify the market maker pattern, you are building a higher probability trade to go in your favor. Now check this out. Where do you guys see, if I zoom in right? Where do you all see the market maker pattern? Okay, right here, right? So we see the market sweep a low right here. Here's a double bottom formation. If we were to replay this, okay, look at this double bottom formation, a retail trading setup. Not only one retail trading setup in the form of this trend line right here, but another one. We see a double bottom formation. Boom, boom. Here's your double bottom. Okay, so if we were to replay this price action, I just want to show you all how insane this strategy is when you're really trading against retail methodologies. Okay, here's the market maker pattern that I attempt to teach you all. So as soon as we see a sweep of this liquidity and a rejection of a psychological level, this is where I entered into the market. So the psychological level that I was paying attention to be rejected was the 700. We'll go ahead and we'll mark that off. And I was waiting for these lows to get swept. And as soon as the market dipped beneath these lows, rejected the psychological level and matched with bullish momentum, I entered all in this area. So right here, you guys can see this would be the market maker pattern. And boom, what do we get? We see the market sweep these lows. It's a very tiny little sweep. You guys can see, I'll zoom in. This wick right here dips right beneath these lows and cancels out any over leveraged buy positions and activates any sell stops from people that are going to be willing to sell underneath of these lows. Okay. And then the market reverses, breaking back above the psychological level, 164,700. We have a candlestick body close. And you guys see how the market never moved below that psychological level. And what do we see? A new high gets created. This is a sweep of liquidity, higher low, higher high formation. I entered all in this area with my stops nice and tight beneath the previous lows, all in this general vicinity. And I was seeking to come and grab the liquidity from the manipulation window that was left behind during the manipulation window in New York and London session. Okay, so if we look at the manipulation window during both sessions, and we can see now how prices came and attacked those areas, just to show you guys that I'm not making this stuff up. It is absolutely insane. When you really pay attention to the detail, you understand why the market is doing what it's doing, when it's doing it via specific times, specific sessions, which I give in details to the CYPRX students. Blessings to you guys all. I understand that this was a little bit of a mambo jambo, but I'm trying to give you guys as much detail as I possibly can without giving everything that I give to the students on the YouTube channel. For those of you individuals who are really seeking to excel in your trading career, the link is in the description down below for the mentorship. You're always welcome to reach out to me via customer support email to schedule a Zoom call. I'd love to hop on with you, introduce myself, show my face, show you what we're about, show you what you're going to have access to via screen share, giving you all the gems. Blessings to you guys. I appreciate the love and the support. Make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Smash that thumbs up button. And as always, be cognizant, be aware, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video breakdown.
I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la.